Before you are a mother, a wife, a friend, a daughter, a sister, and everything else in between, you are your own. And I hope you start to make space for yourself more often.
Welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back to the Taking Up Space podcast, where we amplify the voices of those individuals who unapologetically take up space. So, it's your girl Jessica back again with another episode. And last week's episode we spoke about finding your tribe, therapy, and your support system. Guys, I have my trusty phone and notes here. So if you do see me looking down, that is why. I don't want to tell you wrong things in the podcast episode. So yeah, in today's episode we're going to be talking about self-development and why you, yes, you, are your greatest investment in this life. You, me, Jessica, I'm my greatest investment in life. So yeah, that's what we'll be discussing today. I'll start talking about when I discovered self-development, because I don't think when I was in secondary school, I don't really think much about it. I know as a child, I was involved with a lot of activity, sports. I even did pageants, I did storytelling. So I know my nanny, my mom invested a lot in my development. But as an actual cognizant adolescent, I think it was only when I was about 16. Yeah. 16, 17, I started to really think about it, because at that point you're transitioning to college. You're thinking about the future, like after GCSEs, where do you want to go? I wanted to have a profession in law, and I early found out that was a dub for me. And then I've stumbled on HR, and that's what I do now. And I'm one of the blessed ones. I don't want to say lucky, I'm blessed. Put in the comments if you know where that is from. But yeah, I am one of the blessed ones who, I studied what I enjoyed, and I'm doing what I enjoy now. So yeah, I think that was the early steps of me developing myself, and that was my education. And then once I got to university, I actually sat down, because I lived by myself. I lived in a studio accommodation. Shout out to Chambers 51. I was able to then sit and have some time to reflect on where, especially after university, what I wanted my life to look like, where I wanted my life to go. And I did a lot of YouTube. Like, YouTube is my baby. I've been on YouTube since 2010, since it came out. And, I don't even really watch TV too much, but YouTube, I watch YouTube. So I wrote down my future vision of myself. Also, I did an exercise as well where I looked at the women who inspired me and the traits that I liked from them. And I wrote down why I like these traits, and I just have that, and I still have it on my phone to this day. I try to update it from time to time, because different phases of life you may value different traits in yourself, personality traits, character traits. And then one of the very pivotal videos that I watched was the TED Talk by Angela Lee Duckworth about grit, and how having a growth mindset, staying motivated and dedicated to your long-term goals, how grit is very key in your self-development journey, and it's the only thing that will keep you pushing. And I'm honestly still learning it up to today. As an adult, when you transition from a not so important, I don't want to say not so important, but you don't have as much responsibility as an adult when you're a teenager, especially when you're in university. You know, some people's our journeys are different. Some people have some responsibilities, some people don't. But the type of responsibilities that you have in adulthood is next to none. Like, you've never experienced it before. So watching that TED talk really made me start thinking, oh my gosh, I need to have a growth mindset. I can't, like, I must keep going. And there is a YouTube channel called The School of Greatness. And I realized as well that you are literally, for as long as you're living, you are a student of life. Okay? You heard it here. You are a student of life for life. There's, and one of my most frequently used phrases is, oh, when I learn something new, I'm like, oh, you learn something new every day. And that I always say that, but it's true. You literally learn something new. And if you use TikTok like I do, I'm a TikTok fanatic. Not too much, but yes. I learn a lot on TikTok. You know, there is a lot to learn, and from different people, different walks of life. So I'm saying all of this to say, in your self-development journey, you have to be open to learn. You have to be open to relearn yourself in different phases of life. So I've had to learn myself as a teenager. I've had to learn myself as a young adult. And now that I'm in my mid-20s, I'm learning what I like, what I don't like, and who I would like to be again. And obviously I have a vision, but at the same time, how do I realign the goals, the long-term goals, and make it more actionable to encourage my self-development further? So, yeah. And, you know, because I love the Lord, you know, and I'm not saying that lightly. I'm not trying to take the piss, but because the Bible is very paramount in my, how I lead my life, I wanted to share scripture that coincides with this topic today, with self-development, and it is Jeremiah 18:6, and it's the story about when Jeremiah was going to the potter's house, and there was a lesson that he had to learn by going to the potter's house. And when he met the potter, he then saw the potter reshaping a flawed or imperfect vessel, an imperfect clay pot. And this is exactly what God does for us. And every phase of life, this is what happens, is that there might be some imperfections, but you can't work on every single quirk at one time. So in different seasons, might be different pots for the potter. You have to be molded again to be used for that stage of life that you're in. So yeah, it shows a reshaping of how you can transform. And that is what self-development is you transforming to meet the goals or who you are in that point of life that you are embarking on. And, you know, it shows how God loves us so much that, you know, he's able to rework us. He's able to refine us. And that is really what self-development is a refinement of you and how you can become the best vessel. So, yeah. So I'll, you know, with the help of ChatGPT, I don't know if I should call her my sister. Yes. Or my brother. I'll call her sister. I like naming things, girls. But yeah. So, what is self-development? Self-development, from my findings, is the process of consciously improving oneself in various aspects of life, such as skills, knowledge, habits, emotional well-being, mindset, and character. And please, guys, please work on your character. I can't say this enough. And, you know, it's something I do as well, like, allow yourself to be open for correction by the right people, but your character development really can change the trajectory of your life. If you don't have good character, remember in the Bible it says a good reputation is worth so much more, and you can lose your reputation because of bad character. So please work on your character if you can, and do some deep diving. Ask people around you, like, how do I show up? And trusted people, because people can be haters. But yeah, so yeah, self-development involves setting personal goals, actively working towards them, and continuously striving to become a better, more capable English capable and more fulfilling or more fulfilled person. Self-development encompasses emotional growth, intellectual enhancement, physical health, financial literacy, spiritual awareness, social skills. Self-development is often driven by self-awareness. So if you can, honestly, sit in the quiet. I think most people, they run away from being alone. I quite like my alone time. I love solo dates, solo trips, and it helps you just see yourself, and be more aware of what you're doing in the moment, because it's just you that's present. But also self-development includes your self-discipline, your resilience, and your desire to reach your full potential. And I think, depending on your environment, I think your environment is very important as well. Your environment is very important for your self-development. If you're, you might come from an environment that is not the best in terms of safety or even encouragement. If you can, try, and I know a lot of people do this, where you might go to a nice neighborhood, you might sign up for a different type of hobby so that you see what the world can look like for you, because that will help encourage your drive to hit your fullest potential in this life. So in the different categories of self-development that I've listed, such as emotional, your intellect, and your physical development, here are some of the ways that you can do that. So for emotional development, EQ, your emotional intelligence is very, very, very essential for your longevity in life, and that is showing up with all people. Having emotional intelligence can change how you respond to people, how even your body language towards people. Also your stress management, because like I said, adulthood is not for the faint of heart, and there will be times where you are stressed, and having the right coping mechanisms and ways to manage your stress, and remembering that you have one life and you don't want to spend the majority of your life being stressed out. Your spiritual development, so being prayerful, being mindful. So, they call it being mindful, but, for Christians, we call it, having a prayer life. Also having purposeful discovery. So doing new things, helping others, volunteering, helping in your community helps you connect to a higher being. And for us, it's God. It says in the Bible that we have to lend to the widows, to the orphans, and anyone that is in need. It's our call to support them as much as we can if you're called to. So that's an area of spiritual development. Professional development, so your career growth. What are the things you want to achieve in your career? How do you go about it? Do you need a mentor? Do you need to do some networking? Then social development. Again, last week's episodes where we spoke about finding your tribe, being able to have social skills and maintain healthy relationships. You can only do that through self-development and wanting to be better at every point, because relationships make up your life. And if you cannot sustain relationships, it affects the health of your life and your potential to grow, because you don't have anyone around you, and we want people around. And again, character development. So being integral, being loyal, being kind. There's a difference between being nice and being kind. Being nice is being a people pleaser, okay? And being kind is loving someone so much that you want them to do well, but you will tell them the truth, but in a respectful way. So being kind is very, very top on my priority. Being humble, but not too humble. You have to also speak up for yourself and advocate for yourself. And lastly, gratitude. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. How many times did I say it? Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Always remembering, and I think especially when you're transitioning from a teenager to a young adult to further in your adulthood, being grateful for what you have, the experiences that you have. Even, life is not always rosy, but in those moments where it might not be rosy, looking at what you can be grateful for. So having food in your fridge, having people to speak to, having a job, having the ability to find work, because at any point it can be taken away from you. But then also helping those that are in need, and always remembering you are not better than them, because you can be in that position at any point. So being humble and being gracious and having a spirit of gratitude is really important. So yeah, why is self-development important? And I asked myself this question, like, why is self-development important, and knowing that you are your greatest investment? Like I said earlier, you only have one life, and the best investment you can make is making that one life your best life. And one of the realizations and revelations that God gave me was that He is limitless. So as His children, we're made in His image. We are also limitless. So you should never put a limit on yourself. So you can literally be like whatever you dream, as long as it's in alignment with God's will for your life. You can be the best that you can be, because you know that the sky is the limit, because your God is limitless. He spoke a word and had a vision, and He made it come to pass. So the same with you. Have a vision for your life, because you only have one chance at it. But try your best at all avenues to see it through, and in the most legal and not hurting anybody. I hope don't by any means necessary, climb on top of people, but at the same time, be strategic, be thoughtful, and know that, okay, I want to do it this way. Maybe I need to pivot. Maybe I need to do it a different way. And yeah, the sky's the limit, honestly. So why is it important? Self-development and being your greatest investment is important because it builds your confidence. And so many people lack confidence because they're not happy. They're not happy with where they are. They don't feel like they have the opportunities. And once you're able to write the vision and get clear with what you can do or what you want to do, and setting those actionable steps, you can start small every day. Like I said, some people may not have the means to get the great house or the great car. You could go to the dealership. You can go to a really nice neighborhood. I know for me, when I started doing hairdressing and I knew I wanted to be the best, I followed so many hairstylists on Instagram. I watched so many YouTube videos, and I'm one of those people that I always say closed mouths don't get fed. So I used to reach out to hairdressers and be like, could I speak to you? Could I ask you some questions? And I'm very audacious. Like, you have to have audacity when it comes to you and your life, respectful audacity. And even I landed one of my stylist roles by being audacious and emailing and reaching out to one of the stylists that I really admired, and I got a job. So like I said, you need to be clear and start doing the little that you can do, because you never know where it will land you. So being confident and resilient, it equips you with the tools you need to navigate the ups and downs of life. Because when you have fulfillment in what you're doing in life, no matter if it's, if life is slapping you, you're like, do you know what? I still enjoy my job. I still enjoy what I do. And it may not be the best right now, but I have satisfaction. And when things get tough, your dedication is to your personal growth. Your dedication is to your fulfillment, your joy, your happiness in life. And it helps you just keep going and pressing forward to rise above those challenges. Self-development and investing in yourself also enhances your productivity and effectiveness. As you learn and improve, you're refining your skills, you're becoming more capable of achieving your goals. Because, it's like they say, to ride a bike, it's like practicing. Once you practice, it's a muscle. These things don't happen just like that. Practice makes perfect. So the more that you develop your, maybe trying to be kind to someone or being integral by saying the truth, over time, it becomes part of you. And, the muscle gets stronger and stronger. It allows you, so you doing all of this allows you to become who you truly are meant to be in life. And it makes you more passionate, and it brings you the overall utmost joy. And it's a journey of self-discovery always. And it leads you to have a life of meaning and purpose. Because a lot of people may have it all, they may acquire everything, but they don't have purpose. They don't feel like they've reached their life's meaning, and they're miserable. And I don't want you to be miserable. I don't want to be miserable. So it's very important for us to try our hand at investing in ourselves, because we are our greatest investment. So some of the great resources that I utilized when I was starting my self-discovery, and still to this day that I use, obviously podcasts and books and YouTube channels. So I have some of my favorite podcasts and resources that I would like to share with you guys. So the Glow Up Secrets podcast, I love Ellie. She's just amazing, and the content that she puts out. We have Dr. Michelle Duff, and she comes from a Christian perspective. And we have 7 Good Minutes. And I found 7 Good Minutes because my dad actually recommended, he was like, sometimes you have to motivate yourself. And my mum also says this as well, where she would always remind me that David encouraged himself in the Lord. Like, there will be times where there's no one around to encourage you, and you're gonna have to do it. So 7 minutes, 7 Good Minutes, the podcast is like just a 7 minutes soundbite of a motivational speech or something useful to help you, and it's a tidbit to go on with your day. I love the Mindset Mentor as well, and honorable mention Kobe Campbell. She's also Christian, but she also shares from like a therapy perspective, and that just helps. So those are some of my top podcasts. For YouTube, I have to give an honorable mention to Adama Lorna. Wow, when I first started my career, she just seen another Black woman, especially from the UK, because sometimes some of these content creators are from the US. So seeing another content creator from the UK build herself up, and she shares the tips that she's used to get to where she is, and it's really inspirational. We have Jerry Flowers from Redefined TV. So that's sermon. So that's your spiritual development. And listen, Mr. Jerry will tell you the truth. Okay. He talks about topics biblically that most people don't. And honest to God, it's very helpful. Similarly, R.C. Blakes Jr., he does as well. And he encourages women to be their best selves and how to do that, especially with relationships. We have Charlie's Toolbox, Lisa Bellew, and that's like empowering women in business. And some of the books that I really enjoyed as well, a few books from Valerie Burton, and that's How to Show Up, How to Be a Successful Career Woman, The Alchemist, and that is for you to never forget your journey in life. Like, everything happens for a reason on your journey, but you have to be strategic, and it's all about self-discovery. Who Moved My Cheese? I remember reading that before finishing university, and wow, that really, it changed the brain chemistry for me. And I always recommend it. It's such a small book, very quick to read. And then the last book that I would recommend, or last few books I would recommend, is Atomic Habits. So knowing how to have better personal habits, and I'm still working on it, but habit stacking is my favorite. Like, I always try to habit stack. And then my mentor also recommended me The Richest Man in Babylon. So biblically, how do you manage your finances and have financial literacy? Those are things that may not always be shared in our communities. So yes, guys, if you can, and it's of interest to you, listen to some of these resources, podcasts, or read some of these books. And I promise you will not be the same after reading these things. And as I like to do every episode, I have a few questions that I would like to throw out to you guys to answer down below in the comments. And I will also answer today. So the first question is, what's one habit or routine that you've adopted that has significantly improved your personal growth or productivity? So I kind of just shared it actually, which was habit stacking from Atomic Habits from James Clear. That was one of the things where if I know I'm going somewhere or I need to do something and it correlates, you know, that saying, you kill two birds with one stone. I try my best to be as efficient by doing those multiple things because they coincide. Question 2 is, when it comes to self-development or self-investment, what areas do you find most challenging to commit to, whether it's financial, emotional, educational, or physical? I think it depends, right? It depends on where I am in life because things aren't always perfect. So sometimes educationally, I'm great. Sometimes physically, I'm great because I'm on a high. So yeah, it depends on what is happening in my life at that time. Some may get more attention and be more of a priority than others. So I would say right now where I am, I think what is challenging for me right now is educational. I think I'm at a place where a lot is happening constantly. So finding the time to always learn, I have to be a lot more strategic and sacrifice on my social life and some things that I would like to do, like traveling, to make sure that I am investing in my education right now and consistently learning. So my final question is, if you could give your younger self one piece of advice about self-development, what would it be, and how do you think it would have changed your journey? To my younger self, I would say believe in yourself more. I think working on self-esteem and confidence at an early age would have pushed me forward a lot sooner than now. I think there was a lot of greatness inside of me as a child, but I just didn't feel like it. So a lot of self-motivation has had to come about to get me to where I am now, and keep pushing and keep persevering. Like Angela Lee says, perseverance is very important when you and having grit is very important when you are working towards long-term goals. So I think that is what I would tell myself, my younger self, is believe in yourself. And yeah, like I said, guys, this is a community. I always say this every week. This is a community, so I want to hear from you. So please leave down below in the comments what's your favorite thing that was shared in today's episode, and also make sure that you share one thing that you're grateful for. So today I am grateful for the ability to create wealth. And if you're a Christian, you know that scripture, God gives us the ability to create wealth, and I'm very grateful to have opportunities come my way that I'm able to work for my keep. So I'm grateful for that. And yeah, I want to hear, make sure you guys leave it so we interact. I want to hear that as well, what you're grateful for. And remember, you can always find me on all social media platforms at JXAde. And if anything resonates with you today, make sure to share it with your community. Make sure to share it with a friend, with your mom, with your sister, with your brother. And in the next episode, it's going to be a surprise. We're going to be talking about something that will be interesting. I won't share it. You know, usually I like to share, but I'm going to keep you guessing. So yeah, type down if you can guess what the next episode might be. And always remember, you are loved, you are valued, and you have a purpose in this world. So take up space. Thank you.